Good evening and welcome to episode 121. As always, let's start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, let all your stress melt away. Take one more deep breath. As you exhale, completely relax yourself. Now, think of one thing that you're thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you identified that, think about why you are thankful. And now let's set it free. If you're by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you're with someone, tell it to each other. All right. So let's continue with our karma series. We talked about types of negative karma in the last episode. Today, we're going to discuss severity and effects of karma. Sometimes we feel that the response to our negative action is not proportional to the action itself. Not every negative action actually results in similar suffering. The degree of suffering depends upon the power of our action. And this power depends on 6 factors. Number 1, nature of the action, nature of karma. The intention, the method, the object, how often the action is committed, and the applications of the opponent force. So we're going to look at each one individually so we can understand what it means. First is nature of the action. Some negative action is more severe than others. And we briefly touched on this during previous session, right? Killing is a lot more severe than idle chatter. So if you recall the 10 negative actions from last session, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, divisive speech, hurtful speech, idle chatter. The degree of severity among this is in descending order, meaning killing is the most severe, idle chatter is the least severe. So nature of action is important in how we get effects of negative karma. The second factor is intention. For example, to kill in a violent rage is more harmful than to accidentally kill somebody or kill somebody in mild anger. Then I don't know anybody who kills in mild anger, right? And this actually, you can see that a lot of this criminal code, is designed like that, right? More severe the action, more the punishment. So if you're lying for the sake of lying, for example, or if you're lying to hurt someone, there are different responses, right? Same action of lying, you get different results of karma based on the intention. One is a lot more severe than the other. The method is the next factor when it affects suffering from our negative karma. Meaning how we perform that action. Example is, killing an animal swiftly has less suffering attached to it than killing sadistically, torturing it, and applying slow and painful death. Still, they both death, right? So how an action is committed, results of that are influence on your suffering. The object is also an important factor. If one kills someone who has been kind to them versus someone who is a total stranger, it has a lot more severe implication. Similarly, if someone repeatedly commits the same offense, it has higher consequence as compared to one-time offense. That's why the judge lets you go if it is one-time offense, right? And then the last factor is the application of the opponent. Meaning that once you commit a negative action, right? If you have remorse, or if you create positive action to offset that, then the severity of the suffering is reduced. So it's very important to know these 6 factors. Now, let's talk about the actual effect of our negative action. There are 3 effects. Ripened effect, effect similar to cause, and environmental effect. So I'm going to look at each one individually. Ripened effect is the negative action, let's say rebirth in a lower realm. So if you kill someone, you go to hell, then that's it. That effect is ripened and we're done with it, right? You are born in an animal kingdom, again, it's done with it. So once the ripen effect happens, it never shows up again. Okay. To me, it's actually sometimes better than some of the other ones, and I'll talk about that soon. Effect similar to cause has 2 types: tendency similar to cause and experience similar to cause. Tendency similar to cause is a compulsion. So let's say we are prone to certain type of negative action. Let's say we are prone to lying. Then, we keep putting ourselves in a situation we end up lying, right? Or we want to lie. And to me, that's worse than actually ripened effect. And I'll tell you why. Because when there's a tendency, that means you're creating the same negative action again and again. So that means you're creating more bad karma. Just ripening the bad karma creates bad karma. Not a good thing in my opinion. So I think that's the worst way a karma can ripen in my opinion. Right? Because again, it creates a negative feedback loop. And what it does is it makes it difficult for us to avoid rebirth in lower realms in the future. Because again, we are piling up all these things, right? You may have noticed some kids tend to kill bugs, right? Insects, whatever, because they have these tendencies. There are, people who do sexual misconduct over and over again. They're attracted to someone else's partner. So what we have here a tendency that make one create negative action that in turn will ripen in future suffering. Now, experience similar to cause is where, your negative action provides you some negative experiences in life. Sickness is one example, right? You took someone's life, maybe you get, life-threatening illness. But it happens once, it's over with, meaning it doesn't create over and over again. So that's why I keep saying that tendency is the worst. Another experience is, if you, let's say, steal something, lack of wealth or possession could be the experience similar to cause. Experience similar to cause for sexual misconduct is separation from friends and family. For lying is that no one trusts us. For divisive speech, it makes it difficult for us to create harmonious relationships. For covetousness, it's our desires are not fulfilled. Holding wrong views is that we have great confusion, right? So these are all experiences similar to cause. And then third effect of negative action can ripen in terms of environmental effect, where, our living situation is difficult. For example, we are born in a war-prone zone. Think about people in, Middle East right now. Those kids who were born there, they didn't choose to be born there, right? They were born in because of their past karma, that they were born the way they were born. Some people are born in poverty, right? Unsanitary conditions. So these are all environmental effect. And environmental effect of lying is that, wherever we go, people are deceptive. Divisive speech is that we live in a place which is hard and inhospitable. Idle chatter is that we live in a place where crops don't grow. So all of these are environmental effects. We don't have basic necessity, for example, or we live in a war zone. So as you can see, the negative action ripen in different ways. The worst way it can ripen is the birth in lower realms, right? You end up being an animal kingdom. Effect similar to cause gives us tendency to perform similar negative actions, or it can provide poor life experiences. And the environmental effect makes our surroundings difficult. But in general, we have to pay for our karma. That's the bottom line. Hope that makes sense. So in our meditation today, as always, we'll first settle down in our hearts. And then let's do today what's known as an absorption of cessation meditation. I know it's a mouthful, but all that means is no thoughts, no feelings, no sensations. We do this by imagining ourselves as either a piece of rock or a piece of wood. A piece of wood has no thoughts, it has no feelings, it has no emotions. Just like that, we stay still in our minds and experience a deep peace. We hold that peace as long as we can. So that's the idea. If you're ready, let's begin. Please get into your meditation posture. If you are seated in a chair, just make sure your feet touch the ground, your back straight, spine upright, shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open, so any stress you may have accumulated will dissipate. Palms in your lap, right over left, thumbs gently touching each other. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, see all your stress melt away from your muscles. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, completely let yourself loose like a rag doll. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath at your nostrils. Feel the cool air as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Keep your attention on the sensation of your breath for about a minute or so on your own. Bring your attention at your heart. Experience the peaceful nature of your root mind at your heart. Let this peaceful moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now, imagine you are a piece of wood. It has no thoughts. It has no sensations. It has no feelings, it has no emotions. So just stay still like a piece of wood. If you get an urge to itch, remind yourself a piece of wood has no urge to itch. What arises? Remember, a piece of wood has no thoughts. Remember, a piece of wood has no thoughts, no feelings, no sensations, no emotions. Just stay still. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Any questions? Go ahead, Uncle.
One question, Mira. You mentioned something about killing,
Yeah.
and that is true for mankind, that in any form it is bad in general.
Mhm.
Look at the all other species on the earth, which is the means of their survival. So how do you justify for all other species or living creature and not for human?
So let me say two ways. I don't justify for all of the creatures. I'll come back to that for in a second. But as far as human beings are concerned, right? Life needs life to survive. Until this impossible burger thing came up, right? Chemical stuff. Until then, right? Life needs life to survive. But when you kill another living being, so plants is not a being. It's a living, but it's not a being. That's the difference. Okay. But when one kills, let's say, a fish, right? A fisherman goes out, hunts fish, kills it. That's his livelihood, right? But that does still has negative karma attached to it because he has intention to kill. He puts the action, and as long as that has, and we're going to talk about this next week. Just real quick before I continue, Premal, I know you're not there next week, but make sure you listen to next week's because that's going to set up for the week after. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely will. Yeah.
But what we are talking about is that intentions and delusions, right? As long as that's behind it, negative karma is attached to it. Coming back to the other creatures, right? Even the other creatures, they create negative actions. That's why they say that this is the best possible outcome for us as human being. Because if we are in animal kingdom right now, right, our ability to get out of this cycle of negative karma and suffering because of that doesn't stop because we keep creating it, right? A lion doesn't have the thought process or consciousness to say, I don't want to kill that, uh, uh, whatever he's killing, right? We, on the other hand, do. We have that ability to differentiate from right and wrong, good or bad, right? We can say this is not a good thing, this is a good thing. So we are in a unique situation. We have free will on one hand, right? Consciousness on the other. And if we can, make sure that our free will doesn't take over our consciousness, right? In name of free will, we don't do whatever it takes, regardless of the consequences. Then that's what we need to do. I don't know whether it's a roundabout way of giving you an answer.
No,
I gave you the answer. I don't know.
that's okay. I'm going back to the epic history of Gita.
Yeah.
And in the battlefield, Arjun says that I don't want to fight with my brothers and uncle and my teacher and all these things.
That's right.
And Lord Krishna says that to fight with them is your karma.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that 2 weeks from now. Okay. 2 weeks from now, we're going to talk about what I call karma and dharma. I think that's what the term Sunan coined. So we're going to hold on to that.
Yeah.
But see, battlefield happened in those days, right? There were rules of engagement for war. A soldier who is on foot only would fight with other soldiers on foot. A soldier on elephant will not fight with soldier on the foot, right? There were certain rules behind it. That's number one, right? That's all gone nowadays, right? There's no such thing anymore. There's no discrimination, right? There were no collateral damage per se because we were fighting on the battlefield, not in people's houses. right? Battlefield has become people's houses, right? For better or for worse, right? So that's one distinction. We have to think from those days to today. Okay. Other thing is the and I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm talking about this in the next 2 weeks. But other thing is that whether you have we talked about this, right? Intention, right? And then we're going to go deep into intention next week and talk about whether there's a delusion behind it, right? Anger, attachment, hatred, right? Because those things add up in terms of whether a negative effect is ripened or not. So there's a lot more to it than just saying, hey, Krishna said it's okay to kill, so it's okay to kill. Krishna said in a different, he said
I'm not
time,
expert on
and
Gita or
I'm not
anything.
talking about you. I'm talking in general, right? People quote that to
Yeah.
me all the time, right? But he said in a different time, in a different environment, in a different rule of war, right? Those soldiers did not have the kind of delusions we have today, right? We do today's soldiers, right, have this anger in them. In fact, the military makes sure that the soldiers stay angry, right? That's part of our military preparation, right? If you go to Navy SEAL preparation, they make you angry. This guy killed, right? So that anger, if you come from a point of anger, right, rather than I'm doing my job, two different things, right? Today's soldiers are not coming from I'm doing my job. They're coming from point of anger. So there are a lot of things go in here, just beyond saying, yeah, it's your job to go fight, so go fight. And we're going to talk about next 2 weeks. This is what we keep talking about, because
I'll be missing week after, but
the
definitely
week
I'll be there.
after I'm going to post it on the blog. So at least read it for me, please. I think you'll like it. Yeah.
No, next week I'm here, but following week.
Yeah. So week after will be on the blog post. So.
Okay.
All right. Falguni, anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
You good? Okay. Anyone else? All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead.
No, I'm going to think we're going to have good discussions.
Yeah. I think
next week for sure. Next week I'll listen.
Because next week is very important, Premal. I think I'm going to set up the week after next week, because next week is essentially saying, okay, these are the situations which govern, whether your job affects it or not.
Yeah. No, I'll have it. I'll listen to it definitely as soon as I'm back, and then I'll have questions ready for the following week.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to stop recording.